and welcome back to our podcast. This is day 10 of our grammar journey, and today we're diving into something we use every single day but might not always think about: tenses.
Yeah, we're going to break down the past, present, and future tenses, and by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear understanding of how to use them without breaking a sweat.
Right. It's one of those things that can seem a bit tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it makes communication so much easier.
Exactly. So, let's start with the past tense, shall we?
Sure. So, the past tense is used to talk about things that happened before now. So basically, anything that has already occurred. For example, you could say, I ate breakfast this morning.
Yep. And in the past tense, most verbs end in ed, right? Like watched, played, or jumped.
Exactly. But not all verbs follow that rule, right? We have irregular verbs, where the past tense form changes completely. For example, go becomes went, and eat becomes ate.
I know those can throw people off, especially when you're just starting to learn English, but once you get used to them, they become second nature.
Definitely. Now let's switch gears and talk about the present tense. This is the tense we use when we talk about things that are happening right now, or things that are generally true.
Yeah. So, if I say, I work from 9 to 5, that's talking about something I do regularly, right? Or if I say, she lives in London, that's something that's true at the moment.
Exactly. And we also use the present tense to talk about things that are happening right at this moment. Like, I am recording this podcast with Zero.
And speaking of am, let's not forget about the present continuous tense, where we use the verb to be. Am, is, are, plus the ing form of the verb. Like, I am talking about tenses right now.
Right. The present continuous helps us show that something is happening at this very second. It's like the verb to be is our helper in the present tense.
Now that we've got the past and present sorted, let's look ahead, into the future tense.
Ah, yes, the future tense. We use this to talk about things that will happen later. So we can say things like, I will go to the gym tomorrow, or she will study for her exam next week.
The future is often formed with will, right? Simple enough. But there are other ways to express future actions too.
Yes, exactly. We can also use the going to form, especially when we've already decided to do something in the future. For example, I am going to visit my grandparents next weekend.
And sometimes we might use the present tense to talk about the future too. Like, our flight leaves at 6 p.m. Even though it's in the future, we use the present tense when the action is scheduled.
Great point, Zero. So, to summarize, past tense is for things that have already happened. Present tense is for things happening right now, or general truths. Future tense is for things that will happen later on.
Exactly. It's pretty simple once you break it down like that, right?
Definitely. And tenses help us keep things clear and organized in conversation. Think about how confusing it would be if we didn't have these different tenses.
Yeah. Imagine mixing up past, present, and future, all in one sentence. I was going to the store, but I am buying apples tomorrow. It just doesn't sound right.
Ha, that's a great example. But now you've got the tools to make sure that never happens again.
And if you're ever unsure, just slow down, think about the action, and figure out when it's happening. Past, present, or future. It's that simple.
Exactly. Practice makes perfect. And once you get the hang of tenses, you'll sound so much more confident when speaking.
Totally. So, that wraps up our breakdown of the three main tenses: past, present, and future. Remember, grammar is your friend.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes while practicing. It's all part of the learning process. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone.
We hope this episode helped clear up any confusion about tenses. Catch us tomorrow for day 11, where we'll dive into another grammar topic.
Until then, keep practicing and speaking confidently. See you next time.